Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Where the fuck am I going? Who the hell could I be? All this time I've been lost. Vessel trapped in the sea. Chains holding my legs. I just wanna be free. Fist picking my throat. Hell yeah, they know it. Heritage keep going. You can see it in my phenotypes and that damn Indian showing. This knowledge keeping me steady. 45 on my hip and my armor man stay ready. I hit the streets in my Chevy. Blunt burning, smoking heavy. Man, here you go, I got plenty. Prayers up for what's in it. In the land I lost many. Cause every nigga ain't feeling. And every man ain't willing. No D-bows but smelling. No heroes for my family. What a pigs killing us daily. Invader, this is for the invader. Invader, sitting on the invader. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Invader, this is for the invader. Invader, sitting on the invader. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Where the fuck do you come from? Kidnapping our babies. 11 million abortions. Whole country is scorching. Haters stealing my portion. Bitch, give me my land back. We ain't signed no contracts. Why you wasting all of our trust funds? We don't know who your dad is, but we know who your kid is. Take the food off of my plate. Eat that shit with my phone. Invader. Motherfucking invader. Invader. This is for the invader. Invader. Sitting on the invader. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Invader. This is for the invader. Invader. Sitting on the invader. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Hey ya. 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 All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Invader. This is for the invader. Invader. Sitting on the invader. Invader. This is for the invader. Invader. Sitting on the invader. Invader. This is for the invader. Invader. Sitting on the invader. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Give them all praises. Give them all praises. Hey ya. 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 Peace, peace, peace. Now the sounds of Ahanu, aka Autonomous One, A1, or whatever you like to call me. Shout out to all the Aborigines throughout the world, and most importantly, the ones that's in what we consider to be the continent of the Americas. That's North, South, and Central. Even though we know that it's only one landmass, and South, Central, and North are all directions. So shout out to all them people. And then finally, shout out to the brothers and sisters here in North America that have been classified colored and Negro. And like, I don't know, man. I see a lot of us, we're lost cause, man. And I kind of like, besides doing my documentary, I kind of like just fell back for a minute, man, because it's like, it's like, I don't know, where are we going with this shit, man? I don't know. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I feel as though that I put out enough information, like, to not, I don't have to never make another fucking video again.
I'm just working on this documentary, and I'm also working on another documentary which I'm gonna put on Patreon, which gonna be the prelude, or it's gonna be how the Indians became colored. Now that's something I feel as though that's very important to touch on, considering that a lot of people just seem to be illiterate, or they only read what they only read other people who like tell them like, yo, read this book. They never read none of these other books, or never, when you cross reference this, none of these people never smart enough to do their own summary or come up with their own conclusion. They have to go by the words of the author and believe everything that the author says, and don't understand none of this stuff, man. And more ridiculous thing is, man, at first I was for the ADOS thing, but then, like, you know what I'm saying, listening to some of them, you know what I'm saying, Aborigines and some of the other brothers talk about it, like, yo, I ain't no motherfucking descendant of slaves. I'm descendant of motherfucker like Tuscaloosa. I'm descendant of niggas like John. What's my man name? John Horse and these people, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm descendants of that queen that's standing on that turtle shell. You know what I'm saying? That them Europeans standing up. I'm not no motherfucking descendants of no fucking sloughs. You understand? And people, like, I actually called Yvette Canal show again, and like she just refused to let anybody talk on the topic. That's when you know either people are agents, either people are agents, or people are just stuck in their mind because you don't understand that it was no slaves here. The black slaves are prisoners of war. You got a lot of shit going on. Like I said, I understand it now. When I first started this journey, I was kind of like I was all over the place. All I knew was people was telling me was black people here. But through the research and understanding it, man, niggas have no clue. Like that's why I don't even want to make another fucking video. Cause people had no clue. No clue. I don't even want to talk no more. Like I said enough. And you know what I'm saying? Um, really, like honestly, what more do we need to know? They enslaved the people in land here, the people, well, they imprisoned the people in the land here, the people who didn't go along with their policies. Then they classified these aborigines that was here as colored. And then later on you became Negro. And then you became black. And then you became African American. And then people don't seem to understand this shit. It's simple. It's fucking simple. You don't reclassify people in 14 different states and there's only 200 or three. No, these are millions of people that this shit happened to. Millions, if not, if all of the people. You understand? And like what else I want to touch on? All right, so we doing something on that. I was gonna do something on what's the brother name? Damn, I can't think of his name right now. Crispus Addicts. I wanted to do something on that, which I had up. I was going to do probably about a month ago, but I got sidetracked. I had a lot going on. I actually got a couple of interviews in. Of the people that I was trying to do. And like I said, man, shout out to everybody, man, because when I counted up my donations, man, I had a little over $1,200. Considering everybody that donated from the time that my PayPal app been up. Shout out to everybody who donated, man. I appreciate it, man. I definitely do. I wish it could have been more because I had to kind of do my own thing, which that's what it's all about. It ain't about people supporting. You have to have some, when you come up with these ideas, you have to have a backup plan, knowing that, you might not get the support that you request, but, any support is better than no support. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like if you would like to continue to support, the link is in the description. As far as if you like to cop yourself something from the T-shirt spring, and also I have another website in the making that I'm going to be doing my own shirts. I'm not going to be going through T. If you want to still go through T-shirt spring, you can, but a lot of people had problems with the sizes and everything because of the kind of T-shirts that they're using, them cotton T-shirts. Like most people, like I don't know, man. You can get cotton in the biggest. I don't like big cotton t-shirts. They first of all they too fucking hot. Second of all, they don't be cut. They don't be cut right. Like I don't want nothing like coming down my sleeves and everything. I want to show my arms and everything. So for the most part, but yeah, I mean I actually yeah. So I'm gonna be kind of doing it myself, tagging it, bagging it, sending it off through the post office or through UPS or through FedEx. So I'm gonna keep y'all posted on that. But I got like 10 t-shirts that I already made that I'm just going either I'm gonna find somebody to model them so I could take the pictures of them, or I'm just gonna put them shits on the board and just show y'all. So at the end of the day, like they're gonna get out there no matter what. But as far as this information, a lot of people was already on the rhythm of this. Um, I don't know if you guys ever checked this channel out. It's a brother by the name of TPIM. I think that's how it's TPIM live. He did an interview with a black Seminole lady. I don't know if any of you guys know about this guy. I mean, like he he do a lot of conspiracy theory videos. He be having a dude I don't know if you guys ever heard of the dude what the fuck is this nigga name? He always come on the Carl Nelson show. Mark from Anaheim. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this guy or whatever though, but he be I don't know. I don't trust some of his information sometimes, but for the most part, he be dropping secrets and everything. But my man interviewed him a couple of times. He got a lot of deep interviews with this guy, and I've listened to him. But he interviewed a black Seminole lady the other day, and the shit was phenomenal. And see, everything that I was already saying is what I already thought. Like you know what I'm saying? Like the Seminoles was already black, even though that they're gonna tell you it's a mixture of different tribes. But all these tribes was melanated tribes. All the tribes is melanated. We don't even need to go no further into it. We already did the research. We know the Tuscarora and the Yamasees flooded the Carolinas or the Georgia or whatever the land was called at that point in time, fled into the Gulf of Florida. You know what I'm saying? And they became the Seminoles. And they joined with other tribes that was already in that territory. You know what I'm saying? And you read a lot for that because you learn out that the Seminoles that they sent to excuse me, Oklahoma became the fucking the Buffalo Soldiers and some of the other what they call them platoons or whatever you want to call them that was stationed out there. But for the most part, yeah, they used us to fight against the West Plain Indians and vice versa. hmm But like I said, the whole thing is this, man. If anybody, if you mention this to people, your first thing you want to talk about is the so-called slavery of the people here, and then get to the identity of what the people looked at like here. The people identity fit the description of you. No matter how you look at it, no matter how you cut it, slice it, bend it, no matter what niggas say, everybody acknowledge it was black people here. I went to Philadelphia this weekend, and I went to see Dr. James Smalls, Red Pill, and I forgot the other dude, man. It's gonna come to me in a minute. I asked James Smalls to his face, okay? I wish I could have recorded it, but my phone went dead, and I was so pissed off because I was recording the what's the name, but I wanted to record me talking to him. Fuck is this? I wanted to record me talking to him. Now I asked this man specific questions, right, pertaining to what he said on Sonetta, right? Now I hit him with some shit he ain't know about. He said he ain't know about that. He said he knew about the pyramids in Supe Karu, but he said he didn't know. Now I asked him. I said, "Well, all right," because he hit me with was that numerous scholars have mentioned that the pyramids there in Egypt are older than what they're saying. So I asked him, well, how did they come up with this? What if you ain't using the European method? What method is you using to come up with this method? You using feelings or you using emotions? What are you using? Like I said, and even if we can't go off of that, but that at least gives us something to go off of. You understand what I'm saying? At least gives you something to go off of. Okay, we can chime in the fact that they don't want you to know anything that was here past 6,000 years, according to what a lot of people say. Okay, yeah, we could chime that in, but at the same token, you have to show me evidence that this shit is as old as you say, not just you telling me or you giving me no. Because where are we gonna pull research out to find this? You know what I'm saying? And he told me in the destruction of black civilization, and I got the book, and I told him that doesn't show me nothing. That tells me, oh, he believes what he belies inside of him. That's what he said. He believes it was there. Anytime somebody use the word believe, it's not. They already told you it's not fact. They already told you it's not fact. They Their conclusions probably led them up to that. But then you have to start asking yourself. See, no one studied the Americas. What's this? Shit, keep going on. Sorry about that. No one studies the Americas, and if they do study the Americas, they study the Olmecs, and they tell you, oh, the Olmecs came here. Prove it to me that the Olmecs came here. Prove it. You have no proof that these people jumped on ships and came here to Mexico. You're going to use the Mexico City reference. Oh, black Africans came. No. Them people was already there. They get saying that because they don't want you to know that it was already people here. See, any time that you find so-called melanated people in the Americas, it has to be an African story to go along with. That lead me to my next thing. Right, I was listening to Tariq Nasheed. Right, and he was talking about the Cretilda. Now, me and Chief Holiday was talking about this shit like almost 3-4 years ago, right? Dane Calloway also did a video on it. You understand what I'm saying? This nigga just said that it was a lady on there who said she was a slave, right? Now, the lady on there who said she was a slave didn't say she came from Africa. She only said her family was enslaved, right? Now they trying to say that this boat came over here. They trying to say that boat, that little ass boat, the Quintilda, went all the way across the Atlantic Ocean and came back with slaves, right? No. That shit came from the Caribbean. If it came from anywhere, they couldn't even find no evidence that the Cretilia even existed. That's why I say a lot of shit bullshit, man. Never let nobody tell you, never let no scholar or no historian tell you that after 1776 that the United States of America or the United States or whatever the fuck they formed after 1776 went over to Africa shores and grabbed people and brought them back to it. Never let nobody tell you that, because that is the biggest lie ever. Because they warring here the whole time. They're warring. They're warring all up until they was warring all these revolts and all these wars that was going on. And they got time to bring people here? I doubt it very seriously. You understand what I'm saying? The people that they being moved are people being captured and people who resisted. See, they didn't want it. They was cool with people they was cool with you if you was an Indian who wanted to wear clothes and you believed in the Bible and you went to church and all that shit. That's what they wanted. They wanted that. That's when we talk about a lot of niggas talking about the doctrine of discovery. Got videos on that. But even the doomed devices. And shout out to Lex Will, because Lex Will is the first one I've ever heard talk about the doomed device. I've never heard no one mention that prior to Lex Will. So definitely, like I said, he the brother, as far as a lot of information, gave me a lot of key clues to a lot of stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? But he's the first one I ever heard talk about the Doom devices. Other than that, I've never heard nobody mention that shit. And I'm sorry, Taj Tariq Bey. He was another one. I heard him say it first. But considering that I had to go back and re-listen to it, I give Lex Will credit. Okay, but yeah, no one talks about the doctrine of discovery or the Doom devices, where it's clear what it says. It's clear. It's clear. It's clear what the fucking doctrine of discovery said. Now, this is an article that you can use as far as reparations, because this is the shit that they still got us under today. Still got you under that right now. Negro, black, and colored. You know what I'm saying? And it's just ironic that you get a guy in the 1900s named Timothy Drew or whatever Drew you want to call him, but he named himself. But people called him Noble Drew Ali. Whatever people want to call him, claim his name is, we know him as Drew Ali. It's just so ironic that he came with the same information. Now, what a lot of people is going over their heads is that the Moorish Science movement was a continuation of the fucking Freemen's movement, and no one understands that. And this is facts. You could, whether you believe, because all of that shit, all of the Masonic, all of that shit was in the Cherokee Nation, dealing with all of that. Now, these is practices and principles that they might have just taught the Europeans. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not trying to do all that research. I'm just trying to get to the main facts of the matter. Okay? The Moorish Science movement was a fucking continuation of the Freemen's movement. And no one knows that. And like I said, I had to go back and do some other research. Now, I got some information on this that I'm going to pull up in a minute. And then I'm going to pull up in a minute and I'm going to show you that the Moorish Science movement was a continuation of the Freemen's movement, because after 1866, what they did was they undermined the Freemen. The Freemen had almost $100 million in the fucking bank in the 1800s. And you know what they did? They used Jesse James and a lot of these outlaws to rob them. See, they not telling you that Jesse James and them are part of the Knights of the Golden Circle, and their object was to keep the so-called, keep us, well, I guess was for white dominance at that point in time. You know, but prior to that, it wasn't like that. That's why you can't find very many lynchings. Like the lynchings started after the Civil War. There wasn't a lot of lynchings like you heard prior to that. The lynching started after the Civil War. This is when a lot of the lynchings start. And what they said in the book Without Sanctuaries. Now understand this. Let me stop that. Let me say that again. The lynching started in 1492. Okay, let's just understand that, because when you see all these heads on these sticks, all these black heads on sticks and all that, these are lynchings. These are the first shit started. And it all came out of the doctrine of discovery to put you under perpetual servitude and have you serve under Caesar Borgia or whatever the fuck you want to call Jesus Christ. You understand what I'm saying? All of that came. But what I found funny was this, right? Now, I was watching another video of this brother, and he was saying that the motherfucking Bible, that the King James Bible didn't come to America till 1860. So 1860, the King James. Now, like I said, I'm still confused on a lot of this shit, because whenever they did whatever they did during Reconstruction, they did it so good to where even when you find documentation that shows you otherwise than what you believe, you can't find other documentation to support that. Now you're like, hold on, someone just made this shit up? And there's no other information to support it. It probably is, but it's probably written in a book that don't have a title that even related to that subject. Like a lot of Huck Finn's, or what's the motherfucker name? Tom Sawyer. A lot of his books are talking about fucking Indians, man. You understand what I'm saying? And another thing, right? It tells you in the Oxford Dictionary. Now we got the Webster's Dictionary, we got the Oxford Dictionary. The Oxford Dictionary tell you the word nigger, it means Indians in the U.S. And I mean, come on, the gig is up. That's why I don't even. That's why, like, really, when I'm doing this documentary and I'm doing my own personal shit, trying to get my own personal affairs in order. But for the real deal, like, come on, man, like, Yo, they classified you as color, and none of these people are talking about. Everybody talking about everybody was a fucking slave, and no one is sitting back and doing no real research. You reading shit that you all right. Someone told, oh, you was a slave, and then you ran with that narrative throughout your whole life, and you never questioned when someone like me tried to tell you, look, man, I found documentation, bro, that they enslaved or they in whatever word you want to put in bondage, whatever word you want to put, they did this to the people of this land, man. They wasn't bringing people here to work like that because the Europeans was doing their own work. You know what I'm saying? So like they didn't need these people because they only needed the people of the land to teach them how to live. They didn't need to bring people because how they gonna support the people? If you read, listen, oh my God, like people don't read. People, I mean, besides reading, people don't listen. The first thing is observation, right? Observation is seeing, but it's also hearing too. You observing something. You can observe something by hearing it too. Maybe it's another word like observing to go with something if you hear it, but you can observe something when you hear it. Like you can hear something and then you look at it and now you're observing it. So understand that. So when you got people telling you that there was black judges in the 1700s, you start asking yourself like, how, like how was it black? Because they lying to us, man. They lying to us. All of these counties and shit prior to that was ran by us, man. All of this shit was ran by us until I don't know when the breaking point took place. I'm assuming that it had to be around 1850, around that time, when the breaking point took place, the way that the undermining started to come into place, because it started with the Cherokee. The Cherokees was independent from the other shit that was going on throughout the Americas, and what a lot of people don't understand. You understand what I'm saying? And because the so-called Cherokees and Lincoln promised to help them is what happened. Now you got to take into a event too that there is not just one typical thing that's going on at this point in time. You have a lot of different shit that's going on. If they're telling you William Ellison owned the majority of slaves in the South in the 1600s, now you have to say, well, how many other black people owned that many slaves? How many other black people owned slaves like that? Now, what gave these black people power? Was these black motherfuckers supermen to where if 100 Europeans rushed them, they could kill them all? Or how was they able to achieve this shit without them going in and taking their shit? How was they able to achieve it? How? How? Because they was able to achieve it they was able to achieve it because the understanding of racism that we think is not what we think. It's not. It's a lot of shit going on, and a lot of us is not innocent in it. But what happened? The main thing what happened was the land, the stealing of the land, and the consistent oppression that took place. Whether or not you might have, this person right next to you that's getting oppressed might have owned your ancestor. He might be a black man. But what took place after that was the systematic oppression of the constant of you being undermined in so many ways. They give you black leaders, which they program these black leaders. They give them drugs. They give them these white women. They give them money. Give them nice cars. They the head Negro in charge, and they undermine us. Like I said, when you could see it all through history. Because like even with a lot of this technology stuff, like we touch on, right? And I was reading something and I know no shots to the Caribbean brothers and sisters, but I gotta mention this, right? Like, all right, like in the 1960s, right? They brought over Caribbeans to be nurses as opposed to teaching the blacks here to be that. Even though you had black women who were nurses, but still they brought people here, and none of the black leaders. See, when you're dealing with economics, how the fuck you gonna have a leader who can't bring you resource? So how the fuck is you considering any of these motherfuckers any leaders? Because they not bringing you nothing tangible but just conversation, and they go out there under these psych ops or whatever, and say, look, I'm fighting for you. Look, but they never give you no real tangible shit. They never say now in 2019 when the discussion reparation come up. Now they say, oh well, we need more education. We need now it's 200. It's over 200 some odd so-called African American colleges. So what more information do you need? No, it's something else that's going on here that's not right. And like he said, because when you start reading this stuff, like, and I'm sorry, man, but I gotta go in on it. You start reading a lot of these black immigrants that come here, they pop shit and say, oh, well, black people always begging. Listen, let me tell you something. And I could pull them up right now of the numerous different, and this is the brothers and sisters who we rock with. You got love. We listen, we eating together, everything. But the ones we don't rock with, we have to call these snakes out as well. You understand? We have to call them out as well. Like they talking about ASAP Rocky, right? Now, I think ASAP Rocky father is from Barbados and his mother is an Aborigine sister here. But nonetheless, though, when he had an opportunity to speak up for black people, he talked about how he lived in Soho and how he was chilling down there with his women and drinking his lean. Now his ass is locked up over there in one of them countries, probably by fucking with one of them white girls. You understand what I'm saying? And now he needs some type of diploma. He needs people to gather around him to help him. Now he needs help. He catching his black moment, and now he needs help. None of his money, none of his rap friend. Why he not reaching out to Leo Cohen or none of these people? You understand? Why these people running around here trying to help this brother out? It's not happening. You understand what I'm saying? And I suggest black people, like, fuck that nigga. Let him, same way you do everybody else. Niggas get locked up every day. Ain't nobody down there standing at the county or standing at the motherfucking local municipal or local police department trying to rally to get them out. Every day here. So not less some ignorant Negro who talking about even, what I'm saying, who talk about all this goofy shit. And now he needs some type of, he need people to gather around him and help him and shit, right? Like I said, this shit is hilarious. This is some of the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life, right? Now, R. Kelly, right? Now, look, check this out. Now, we all know that whole R. Kelly shit was to cover that whole Epstein shit out, right? And everybody's starting to see it. Every time that it's time for one of these crackers, one of their shit to come out, now all of a sudden you don't hear nothing about it, right? Now, for every one black R. Kelly, there's probably 10,000 European R. Kellys. That's even worse than him. That's a real live Jeffrey Epstein. You understand what I'm saying? But no federal charges been brought to him. But you could bring up federal charges on him of trafficking. But you don't hear no federal charges being brought up on him. You don't hear no federal charges being brought up on none of the people. Even the people that cross the border, you don't hear no federal charges being brought up on them. Because across the border is a federal fucking crime, whether you agree with it or whether you don't agree with it. It's a federal crime. It's a crime to come across the border illegally. And they know these niggas is criminals, but yet they still running after your ass. They still running after you for some fucking drugs and shit or whatever. They still running after you for drugs, but you got people who break into the country illegally, then don't even go to court, so they have a warrant, then later on become citizens. Like, what the fuck? But I know people who get locked up for traffic violations, not less a motherfucker who crossed the damn border illegally. Listen, I'm gonna tell you like this. And for all you niggas that's like, oh, they are descendants of motherfucking invaders, my dude. And I don't care what nobody say. I don't care how nobody feel about it. The Mongols invaded South and Central America, and so did the Spaniards, okay? Prior to that, the people there looked like us. So these people that's running here for asylum because of what you built, we built this motherfucker up, everything in here, made all this culture. Everybody want to run over here so they can go get a fadeaway and get parts on the side of their head and go get some Jordans and shit. Now that all the jobs is accessible. But like I said before, how the fuck is all these jobs accessible, but black people still can't find jobs? And now you have to, in so many cases, speak Spanish. So like I said, that's up to people, man. Because if I get denied from a job, I'm going to sue them. I'm going to file. I'm going right under the Equal Employment Opportunity Act and sue them. You got immigrants working here, and I'm a Black American, and you supposed to hire me? No, 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 no. You supposed to hire us first. This is law. The same thing with apartments. You try to go to an apartment, they deny you, sue them motherfuckers. I don't care how many Black people you see. They discriminated against you. You understand? They discriminated against you. They discriminate against your social status, which is your economical status. And that's not what they supposed to be doing. And that's for everything else. So, you have to know how to enforce this shit. They give you the enforcements to enforce, but people don't know how to properly enforce it. They don't. It just bewilders me. You have Blacks that sold drugs as resources, and plus we was programmed to sell the drugs to our own people to kill us. And then, honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know too many people that crack killed. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know crackheads right now that was getting high in the '90s who's still alive right now. As a result of the drug, they probably was they robbed somebody, or was it led to some other situation that as a result to that, whether they went to got it and something happened, or however you want to spice it up. There's numerous scenarios that go along with it. But the drug, it actual self, I don't know too many people. I know people who had heart attacks and stuff like that and died, yeah. But for the most part, man, I see people right now who've been getting high since the '90s, and they still, some of them clean, some of them is getting high. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you had people who got federal charges off of selling a damn substance, right? You sold a substance because you had a lack of resources, right? Because, like I said, regardless of, you might speak to one Black person and they tell you they had jobs, but then you speak to another Black person, they tell you they didn't have jobs. And this is another thing that my man had. No, was it? Was I listening to him, or was I listening to this? I think I was listening to this to this other European, and he was saying how another thing what they did was they did the abortion shit, but then they came with sending the jobs overseas. Now, when they sent the jobs overseas, it wasn't enough jobs here already for people. So what people you think got left out on that? You know what I'm saying? And then, like I said, even with the other scenarios of how you have brothers who came home from the military and they were strung out on drugs as a result of the shit they seen over there, trying to cope with post-traumatic stress syndrome. They had families and stuff like that. So it's a lot of stuff, man. But I'm just saying, like, I just see how, like, even politics is all bullshit to me. It's all just it's all two birds on the same two wings on the same bird. But we know what the Democrats did. And we know the Democrat Party was created by Andrew Jackson. And anybody with any fucking common sense should know that. You know what I'm saying? The Republican was the original party that was going place, and that was actually us. That shit got off of the Confederate. When you look up what is it called? The Great Law of Peace. When you look up that's where the Constitution came from. Um, and also when you look up the Article of Confederation, anything when you see that word Confederate, they got that shit from us here. They didn't come up with that. That word Confederate came up with us because you see it being applied before the so-called Federation. Now, what they did was they just hijacked. They hijacked and took that flag from the Chickamaugas because, like I said, you see the Chickamauga flag. The Chickamauga flag is the same fucking flag with the same 13 fucking stars on it, right? Now, what they did was it might have already been 13 colonies here, or not 13 colonies, but it might have been in another wording or whatever that I just haven't found yet. But that's where, like I said, you see 13 a lot. You see that? You see 13 a lot, and you see 7-Eleven. Right now, some people make reference, oh, that's when the Moors, well, nah, the Moors are already there. That's when the Europeans might have got enlightened in 7-Eleven. That's when they might have got enlightened. You understand what I'm saying? Them people been there. You got niggas who, oh man, yeah, when the Moors went up in Europe, man, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you talking about. Them people been there. Just like you could find fucking blacks up in Russia who been there, but they ethnic cleanse all of these blacks that was in all of these places. And this is where you get people who were sent to Africa. Because a lot of these people that were sent to Africa came from Asia, man. Came from Asia Major. Straight up. They came from Asia Major, man. But, like I said, dealing with the lawn shit, man, let me see what y'all saying, man, in the chat room, man. Like I said, man, at the end of the day, this is all a race for resources, and the resources is taken from you. The resources have been taken from you. The 13 ports and docks. That might mean something too, Charles Clark. We saw from the grid, yeah, let me see, yeah, it's not here. Say, oh, maybe districts. That's right, 13, yeah, 13 something. I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Peace, Brave, Heart, Priest, Soul, Spectre, Nighthawk, For Black Righteousness, who else? Original Rocky Pieces, Ed Cooper, Joseph L, Lorenzo Duckworth, damn, my bad, McLean, sorry, sis. But but it was something here dealing with 13 already, because you see 13 fucking arrows inside the look. When you look on the back of the dollar bill, in one fucking hand, you see 13 arrows in the eagle talons. You understand what I'm saying? And then, like I said, the 13 stars, all that shit is symbolic, which is coming out of the whole. Remember, all of these Masonic, well, now I'm going to say all of them, but a lot of these Masonic powers came out of the Cherokee Nation. And how do you find this out? You read that in, you can get that information in Slavery in Cherokee Nation, the Kituwa Society. You get that in there. It tells you. It tells you how they became all that. You got all of the major players trying to be Indians. All of the major players, Albert Pikes, Ananias Boltonews, and all these people who was all part of these secret societies, which all these secret societies became. The KKK became fucking Skull and Bones. All of these shit split up into different fashions. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, that thing 13 has symbology, because like I said, I don't know if I showed y'all the Chickamauga flag. That they got the Chickamauga flag, and it said, and it's the same as the Confederate flag. It's the same shit, but it says on it, it says Chickamauga, it says Rocky Face, and then no, it says Rocky Face, and it says something black something. All right, but yeah, I'm assuming, I'm making an assumption, meaning I'm not 100% right, but I'm assuming that that flag is the flag that Dragon Canoe and them had first, right? Now, Dragon Canoe and them was defeated, right? Now, remember, they was defeated in Tennessee. That leads back to the motherfucker who made, I forgot the other individual who was working along with Albert Pike, because Albert Pike was in Tennessee too. Now, was another individual in Tennessee that started, I believe, the KKK with him. I can't think of his name right now. But remember, Tennessee became parts of Carolina. All right, because all of that was all of that was like parts of Carolina right there. They get stretched it out and just made longer borders. Right now, you get all of this shit because one of the last Indians that they took over was the Chickamauga. That's why it took all that time to try to graft all these Europeans in. And then what they did was they used the Europeans as a spokesman. And then when the Europeans became the spokesman, the Europeans started crossing the original Indian and then said, oh, you too black to be an Indian, because now they look at the Indians as being white. Now the Indians could be white. And then they use that to say, oh, no, you ain't an Indian. We're the real Indians now because we got the power. Just like the Jews got the power. You claim to be a Hebrew Israelite, but you don't control shit. You don't control nothing. And they will sit there and tell you, oh, you might be the real Jews, but I'm the Jew. I got all the money. I got all the power. Everything. All of your cultures have been stolen. Everything. From Nathan Bedford. Thank you, son of Don. Thank you. Nathan Bedford Forrest. Thank you. Yes, him. Exactly. And if you do the research, you will find out that Nathan Bedford Forrest was trying to be an Indian as well. You understand? Now, like I said, and I ain't even pulling shit up. I didn't even go into what I got from my brother, my Morris brother. I didn't even go into these documents that I got from him. I got hundreds and I got the mots. I didn't even go into this yet. We just gonna keep it basic. We're gonna keep it simple. We're gonna do the prelude to how the Indians became colored. We're gonna do culture freedom, and then we just gonna chill. And we just gonna chill on the rest of it. The rest of the shit we gonna put out gradually. You understand what I'm saying? But for the most part, what you have to understand is every culture you had was taken from you. Whether you was a Hebrew or whatever the word wasn't, if it wasn't Hebrew, it was something. It was something. Okay, whatever the word was that we was going under or whatever. And like I said, and this all ties into everything now, right? It all ties into the Bible, and it all ties into what my man's saying that, you know what? I want to find that video, and I'm about to play this shit, matter of fact. You know what? Let me find it real quick. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it. Give me a second. I'm about to play it. I want you to hear what my man was saying, right? Because everything he was saying is 100. Let's check it out. Let me see something. Give me a second. All right. If you ain't subscribed to the channel, Brother Moors in America, check the brother channel out, man. The brother had the what's the tribe? The Montauk, and how they said in the courtroom that the Montauk was too black to be Indians, and they had the fucking chief, man. They had the actual chief in the courtroom who everybody, all the white people called chiefs, and they all said that the Montauks was too black to be Indians. That's a good joint he got on. He got another joint on here where he interviewing Peter Moon, and then Peter Moon is telling him how the Montauk, and he's saying, and he's telling you, right, how he interviewed one of the Montauk ladies, right? And he said she had a daughter that could be white and she had sons that could be black, right? So I'm like, all right, well, because she was mixed. So he was saying this is how you seeing a lot of the so-called Indians there, because remember, a lot of us was shipped out, and a lot of us was shipped out, and a lot of us had to go wherever the resources was at so we could survive. So we had to move. So a lot of the original Montauk's is living in Queens, New York, Harlem and shit. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you want to go. But let me find that interview real quick. Let me find that interview. And like I said, man, don't get deterred by the word, by the name, man. Look up the information and just go from there. Never don't you gotta stop. Like, look, I'm a researcher, man. So I research people and I listen to people who I would never listen to in any walks of life. Here we go, right here. I'm gonna play this for you. It's about 20 minutes though, but I want you to hear this shit. Greetings, my wonderful. Let me see something. This is your main man, your best friend, Johnny Cash. Yeah. All right, give me a second. Let me see how I'm gonna do this. You know what? Let me see if I can start my other computer up. Give me a second, y'all. See, you got a lot of good brothers who got perspectives that you gotta really like. You ain't gonna never listen to them because you too programmed. Too many people telling you to stay away from certain individuals that are really your fucking people. You know what I'm saying? They telling you to stay away from them, and niggas is listening to them. That's how I know people ain't real fucking scholars, man. Because if you can listen to a damn racist and learn shit from him, you can listen to your own brother giving you information that people was using any motherfucking way. That's why I never really took a lot of people serious who, when we talk about the whole Moorish talk, because it's like it's just like it's like people pick and choose, just like even with the whole Aborigines, you know what I'm saying? You got some Aborigines who believe they Mongoloid, then you got some Aborigines who believe Africans came here. You got some Aborigines that believe, like I said, maybe Africans did come here, but they didn't come here in a fashion like they told us. The way that they're telling you that they came here is a damn lie. They trying to tell you that the people who came here outnumbered the people who was here already, and that is incorrect. That's incorrect. And then they all didn't mix into people in particular places because they wasn't taking all these people from. They wasn't just like. You don't find no documentation of the English bringing no motherfucker or the British bringing no motherfucking Africans to fucking Connecticut. You don't, but they're trying to work that into the whole story of Africans being brought here when these people are not even Africans. They're people being brought here from the fucking Caribbean and South and Central America, and some of them are being brought from Andalusia. Oh, my bad. What the fuck is that? Give me 1 second, yo. What the fuck is this? All right, my bad. Now, I don't know if y'all seen it. I want y'all to check this shit out, though. Let me see. And you know what? Let me see something real quick. Let me share my screen. All right. So here, this is the brother. This is a video right here, right? But this is the channel right here, right? For you guys who don't check it out. This is another interesting brother right here, Prince Uriel Bey. Check out his information, y'all. Please check out his information. Brother right here, Torino Oshego L, my brother, who I got a lot of information from. Check him out. These niggas is telling you you're Indians. They're not denying that. They're not in. And you take that information that you learning from that. From that, you don't go with everything until you are sure that that is the facts of it. But you are sure that these people are telling you that you was here, and they giving you Prince Uriel go in. So if you never checked out a Prince Uriel joint, please check them out. I'm not trying to convert no. I'm just trying to help you get your research and knowledge up because most of the people, I'm like, if I can't listen to like, I mean, I don't know. If I gotta keep listening to Aborigines for information, I'm running in dead ends. I run into dead ends. I run into dead ends. I run into dead ends because I get a picture of a Mongoloid being compared to a fucking black man, and I know that's not right and exact. What is the story in between that? That's that connected. Oh, there is no story connected to that because these people who look like that was on one part of the landmass, and these people who look like that came from another part and settled on another landmass. That's the understanding that you have to come clear with. Okay, but like I said, you check them out. If you don't, you don't. Don't check them out. Then I'm going to continue to. You know what I'm saying? This is it, right? Hold up, let me see. I want to show you that one. This one right here. The Montauk courtroom tragedy. You gotta check that shit out, man. I'm telling you. You got a couple ones he talking about we Aborigines on here, man. Like I said, this Peter Moon joint right here, you gotta check it out. You got to check it out. I mean, like I said, you don't know what you're missing if you ain't checking shit out like that. All right, so let's go back into what we were just looking at. Matter of fact, let me see something. All right, so I'm gonna play this video. I want y'all to check it out. Let me go back. I don't know if it's gonna be able to play on both computers, but this is it right here, and I'm gonna let them talk. All right, so look, let me see. I don't know if you guys ever seen this before, but I just wanted to play. I thought it was very interesting. All right, now look. Okay, so I'm gonna wait a few minutes. Press 1 if y'all can hear it. What the fuck? Let me see
man
something.
has
I'm still
uncovered
live?
the biggest fraud in history.
Okay, we still live. So
Yeah,
what the fuck is
absolutely.
YouTube
So
at?
I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes, like I said, give some of my peeps an
Oh,
opportunity
my bad, y'all.
to chime in with you, brother.
Let me go back.
And we're gonna take this thing to the next level. Jean Twan, thanks for chiming in. Regina, great to see you. Cordy, thanks for chiming in. Nat, thanks for chiming in. We're about to go into some areas that nobody seems to want to talk about, and that's why I'm talking about it, right? Okay, so Nat Turner, you're about to love this one, bro. You're about to love this one, I promise you. I have uncovered the biggest fraud in history, you know. And when I'm done, somebody might say, well, I've seen frauds bigger than that. I'll let you be the judge. I will absolutely let you be the judge. But yeah, Robert, thanks for chiming in. Vanessa, thanks for chiming in. Una, thanks for chiming in. Marianne, thank you so much for chiming in. Great to see you. Okay. I'm about to blow the lid off of this fraud. Okay. I'm absolutely about to kill this fraud.
Don't skip this video. If you're suffering from premature hearing loss, the struggle could soon be over.
I'm gonna wait about one more minute, give people an opportunity to come on in and have a seat.
All right, y'all can hear. Okay, all right, cool.
Drop your socks because we're gonna let the fungus be among us, right? You know.
Now I'm gonna just let this play. I'm gonna let it play. All right. So just I'm gonna let it play out.
And I just had to pause for the cause and pull over into this parking lot and go live because this thing upset me so bad. I couldn't drive another motherfucker until I talked to my sisters and my brothers about the biggest fraud that I have just uncovered. I just uncovered this. I just uncovered this. I've been on this path for the last 20 years now, and I have studied and had an opportunity to even share the podium with some of the world's greatest black intellectuals. And nobody, nobody has even broached the. We're experiencing a little Facebook Buffy there, but don't worry about that, people. That might happen a couple of more times before I'm done. But whenever it happens, just sit tight. I'll be right back. Okay, so here's the thing. No one has even broached the subject that I'm about to get into this evening. I'm coming to you live from Chicago, Illinois, right? Okay, so this is what it is. Remember, I made a post a couple of hours ago, and I said, not even that long ago, probably an hour or less, where I said, do not trust any history, any American history prior to 1865, because that is the year that they reconstructed American history, right? So any history prior to 1865, any American history before that, so any history prior to that time frame, that being 1865, cannot be trusted. You cannot rely on it, okay? I don't give a damn if they produce documents claiming to be prior to 1865. You cannot rely on those documents. You must do your forensics, your carbon 14. However, you need to forensically analyze those documents. You got to do it because any history prior to 1865 in America cannot be relied on, because from 1865 for about maybe 50 or so years, we went into the Reconstruction period of American history, which is when they reconstructed the history. They didn't reconstruct the societal conditions for the newly freed slaves to have a better life, which is what they pretend was happening. No, oh hell no. That did not That did not happen. But what did happen was the absolute reconstruction of American history. Okay, now, all right, now, remember how they say that the King James Bible of 1611 is the Bible that was given to the slaves, all right? The slaves that were appointed as the teachers of the slaves who could not read, all right? So the slave who could read became the preacher to the slaves who could not read. And remember how in the Bible it has different passages advocating slavery and admonishing the slaves to be faithful and obedient to their masters. Okay? All right. That's the 1611 King James. All right? They want you to believe that in 1611 we had slaves. They want you to believe that in 1611 we had slaves in America who were being taught to obey their masters. All right? Now, you might say, well, yeah, we did. Yes, we did. Apparently, we did not, and I'm about to prove it to you. Okay, so the presumption is that there was a King James Bible of 1611. All the King James Bibles that you see have the preface from 1611 in it. Well, guess what? The first King James, and I Googled this shit, okay? Don't take my word for it. Google it for yourself. I just Googled the first King James Bible in America. And guess what I found? I found that the King James Bible of 1611 didn't even reach America until 250 years later. That's 18. The first King James Bible of 1611 didn't even reach America until 1861. Why is that? I'll tell you why. Because it wasn't printed until then. It was not even printed until 1860 freaking one. Well, how did it get to America? We're going to have to talk about that on our next Facebook Live broadcast. But let's talk about what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the biggest fucking fraud in history, which is the belief that there were slaves in 1611 in America who were being taught from the King James Bible to obey your masters. Now, I just put a post up saying don't rely on any American history prior to 1865. Well, what happened in 1865? Well, what happened in 1865? According to the Constitution, that was the ratification of the 13th Amendment, freeing the slaves. Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute now. If the first Bible that was supposed to be used to teach the slaves didn't even reach America until 1861, and guess what? Chances are it didn't even reach America then, because based on what I read, it was not printed until 1861. I'm talking about in England. It's called the ERV, the English Revised Bible. The English Revised Bible, and that was the first King James Bible that had only 66 books, because according to history, the original King James Bible had 80 books. Hello, hello, and again I say hello. So the original King James Bible of 1611, which we do not have, I was talking about the original King James Bible of 1611, which we do not have, originally had 80 books in it. The King James Bible of 1611 that we have today only has 66 books, but it is not the King James Bible. It is the English Revised Bible, but it doesn't say English Revised Bible. It says King James Version. It not only says that, it says the authentic, authorized. It says the authorized King James Version. of the 1611 Bible. That's bullshit, people. That is fraud. And what they want you to believe is that during the time frame of what they want you to believe is that during the time of 1611, there were slaves in America. The damn Bible that was supposed to be used to teach the slaves wasn't even printed in England until 1860 fucking one. And I know it took at least 4 years to get to America. So let's say 1865, that bitch gets over here. How convenient to have the 13th Amendment say we are now freeing the slaves. You know what? The way I feel right now, it wasn't no goddamn slaves. What? Listen, by the time the Bible got here, the 13th Amendment had been ratified. They want you to think that you were slaves. Niggas didn't even hear about Jesus until 1865. I'm approximating because the Bible that taught about Jesus that eventually got over here didn't even leave England. Wasn't even printed in England until, you know, anybody who knows me will tell you, if you ever see Johnny Cash cry, be very afraid because he's really upset, he's pissed off. And chances are, if you're arguing with him, if you see him start to tear up, he's tearing up because he knows he's right. And I'm tearing up right now. I feel like crying like a bitch because this shit here is so upsetting, man. It is so fucking upsetting. That's why I keep telling people, you cannot get knowledge from a book. You have to do the forensics on that information from that book, and you have to validate all that data. You got to do your forensics on that shit, people. You don't just read a goddamn book and say, I got the knowledge. You ain't got a goddamn thing but a belief. Belief is not knowledge. Only once you prove the data does it become knowledge, okay? History is a puzzle, people. You got to put that bitch together. You can't just read a book and get history. You have to analyze what you are reading and determine forensically whether or not it makes sense to you. All right? Okay. I know a man ain't supposed to cry, but these tears I can't hold inside. This is real shit, people. This is real shit. We have been lied to, had hoodwinked, had a muck run on our ass, man. This shit is fucking crazy. They keep showing you movies about Jesus. Why in the fuck do you think they keep showing you slavery movies? Because they want you to believe in that shit. Well, damn, Johnny Cash, you're gonna fuck about reparations. I don't give a fuck about reparations, man. This shit is about truth, nigga. This is about truth. Learn business. Make your own goddamn money. Quit trying to make another motherfucker pay you for some shit that didn't happen. Kind of like these Negroes in Philly. You know, the game they ran on Starbucks. In fact, that was deeper than just two brothers. This shit was engineered at other levels, but I ain't got time for that. I'm here to talk about this other fraud. Okay? So the bottom line is this, people. Somebody wants you to believe that you have been a slave for 400 years to line you up with the Bible narrative about the tribes of Israel being enslaved in Egypt for 400 years. Now, historically, that shit never happened. Yes, all scholars are aware of that. Jewish scholars will tell you before anybody else that shit never happened. Okay, then. So they want niggas in America to identify with those people, right? So that they will believe that they are somebody other than the people. Okay, so let me calm down because I am pissed as fuck. I am pissed to the height of pistivity. Okay, so here's what the game is. The game is they want you to identify with some people that you are not from a place from whence you never came, so that you will release your heritage here on the shores of North America so that the European can claim your land without just compensation. That's where you look for your reparations, not slavery, but the thievery of your fucking land. We're no different than the South Africans who had the Dutch come in and take their shit. That's the page we're supposed to be on right now, people. Getting all our fucking land back. Damn slavery. That shit, based on my research from tonight, that shit has not even. Based on my research, people, slavery is a fraud. It has not happened in America. It never happened. The Europeans got here sometime around 1865, forged all these goddamn documents, forged all the documents of the founding of all these Ivy League universities and colleges and shit to make you think that they've been here for hundreds of years. All of that is bullshit. All they're trying to do is make you believe that you were a slave and that you are some chosen people or some lost tribes of another place over across the damn Atlantic. The truth of the matter is, we are in a state of war with a European corporation that has taken our land hostage and under siege since 1865. We're in a sustained condition of war. That is why we do not have the right to vote legally. Every 20 years, every 20 years, Congress has to sign off on our right to vote because they have stolen our lawful government from us. Motherfuckers. That's the name of the game. That's the fucking story, people. That is the goddamn story. You're right, Ramona. It was all about the land. And they took the fucking $5 Indians and gave them our shit called reservations. Gave them bitches banks and casinos and got us in some goddamn ghettos that they named during Hitler's regime in Nazi Germany to make us identify with Jews. There is no identification required. We are not identified. I'm so upset. I don't know what to do right now. It was never about slavery. It was all about the land. Oh my God. This is unfucking believable. You cannot write this shit. You cannot write this shit. I had no idea when I woke up today I would learn the blockbuster that I fucking learned. And it is a blockbuster, people. There was no slavery. It's all about the land. That's why we can't vote. They have to sign off on our right to vote, on not our right, our privilege to vote every 20 years. Why is that? Because we are the original people on this land, and this is our land. If they give us the legal, lawful right to vote, we will have power to take back our original de jure government. Right? If we were slaves, what the goddamn slave ships? You know how Europeans love to memorialize shit? Where are the goddamn slave ships in the fucking museums if there were fucking Africans brought over here? Hundreds of millions of fucking Africans as slaves. Get the fuck out of here. Show me a goddamn slave ship on the shores of North America. Johnny Cash, you a pussy sitting up there on Facebook Live crying. You can kiss my ass. All right? You know, it's crying time. Motherfucker. Yeah. And it's also ass-kicking time. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And the way you kick somebody's ass is, it ain't about...
All right, that was the end to that clip. I'm gonna play another one. I'm gonna play let me see something real quick. Hold on, what's this right here? I'm gonna play the other one when he talking about the Montauk Indians. I want y'all to hear this shit. Like, yo, like you can't make this shit up, man. Like you can't make it up, yo. You cannot make it up. And this is what they did. This is what they did all. And then people just gave up and said, man, fuck this, man. It gets blended in. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, man, everything that brother was saying is everything that we've been talking about this whole time, man. Everything. Like I said, it go back to my first video why I could not understand. Like the first video I did was the video with what's the nigga Beck? I can't think of his name. Motherfucker with the glasses that used to work for Fox. He had a couple of special shows. He was telling us the fucking truth in his document in them shits that he had on Fox. But you had to go back and say, hold up, man. Hold up. I was taught that slaves came here in 1619, and from 1619 they was taught to be slaves, and they worked on cotton fields. And then in 1865, you had the United States government fought and freed them. Right now, when we learn the real motherfucking history of it, we learn the history, and like he said, we don't even know. Like prior to 1865, we don't even know if any of that shit even happened or not. And like I said, you have to start looking into that as a reality. To a lot of shit that they told us is fun. Because what do reconstructing? What did they reconstruct? They had to reconstruct something that was severely sidetrack us. So what the fuck did they reconstruct? What did they reconstruct? For them to for you to be in a situation now where you think you're a fucking slave. What did they reconstruct? What was the reconstruction? If they didn't change nothing and they ain't changed nothing in the history, it's like the wrestling move. You ever see the wrestlers and shit with one nigga on top and the nigga come knock him out and then put the other person on top and shit and he win? That's the same shit that happened to us here. And like the brother said, he said, because the Bible is the key thing. The Bible is the key thing. So we don't even know if 1492 even happened in 14. We don't even know if that's the timeline. This shit could have just happened in the 1700s. We don't know because you see that they're still warring with people up until the 1700s. You warring with people to the 1800s. And that's a small piece of land to maneuver from Virginia to North Carolina or in Georgia region. If you go Virginia to North Carolina, is how far? Probably 7-8 miles apart. Well, no. I'm saying certain parts of like if you in Danville or Reefville, you closer to Greensboro, so that's right there. But even when you talk about Georgia now to get across from North Carolina to Georgia, it's probably like another 3.5 miles. Because I know it took us to get from Greensboro to let me see. Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? The Charlotte, it took us almost 2.5 hours. So Georgia's right there. As soon as you go past that, Georgia's right there. All right. So we talking about maybe from Virginia to what's the name? We talking about maybe 6 or 7 hours apart. And you telling me that they got into Virginia in 1619, and then from 1619 they moved. And by 1770 or 1780 or 1790 they was just in Tennessee area or Georgia area. Come on now, like I said, you have to read. That's why, like I said, man, I can't. Yeah, it's about 4 hours. You're right. I can't even really go further because I don't want to be. I don't want to keep on continue to put out a lot of this fake ass pseudo information when we're being lied to all around. Like this whole none of this shit is true. It can't be. It can't be. And like I said, the brother right about what he said after because you got to start thinking about it. Like they didn't fight to abolish slavery. I think that we really don't know what the Civil War was really about. We know that the Civil War, some people said, was a labor dispute. It was because they were supposed to pay and if it was a labor dispute, I'm assuming that they were supposed to pay the so-called farmers or pay the people who was helping them do what they was doing, because we know that in constant situations, you hear about them undermining them and they beating them. So it could be as a result to that as well. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, like I said, I had to reevaluate the way I looked at shit when I heard that. When I heard that, I was like, nah. I said, nah. I had to reevaluate it because I said, nah. I said everything that we being told is not correct, not right and exact. So you know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, this brother right here. Let me see something. Brother right here got some good videos, man. You gotta definitely check this out. Even if you scam through it and just pick through some of the videos and just get some of your information. If it's not pertaining to the Morris doctrine, if you don't subscribe to that, don't subscribe to it. Just all you have to do is listen to the information, man. And then just take, like I said, I take information from all of the brothers. But I know one thing for sure. Like I said, at the end of the day, when you do the research, you see that a lot of this stuff is not making up. Even a lot of these last names, man. All of these last names is connected to a job or connected to um some type of employment. You know what I'm saying? Like I was doing some research. The Millers, the Shermans. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of them terms are coming from working or coming from people who was doing some type of activity or some type of monetary activity, and they was classified as that. You understand? And then they put their whole family under that same term. You understand? And like you said, don't think because you had so-called Indians that was enslaved that these Indians wasn't skilled in nothing that the Europeans couldn't use. Just like today, what do? Don't you see that they go in jails and pull people out to use them and then have them do shit that, you know what I'm saying? And then once they get done doing that shit, they let them free, but they're aging from that point on. How many they did that with the fucking Seminoles? They did that. How you think the Seminoles warned against them when they captured the Seminoles? I guess they made them an offer they couldn't refuse, and they went down into Oklahoma and became the Buffalo Soldiers. So we already know. We already know what can be done, man. You know what I'm saying? Or you said, what is his name? His name is Johnny Cash. This the video right here. You see it? Let me see. It's right here. Let me go back. Yeah, I mean, I'm already on the New Madrid earthquake. I mean, Duca Tiz was talking about that. He was talking about the New Madrid earthquake. He said that changed a lot of stuff in the Western name. Um, shout out Joseph L. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Appreciate the donation. Um, but yeah, the New Madrid earthquake. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with that, and that's how a lot of the stuff that was here got replaced or whatever. Like I said, man. I mean, if you want to know the details of what happened here, there's a lot of research that has to be done. But as far as us understanding that we was here already, that cannot be disputed. That cannot be. No one can debate on this subject unless they are a buffling fucking fool. Unless they want to get you know what I'm saying, Summer Jam scream. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, like no one's gonna debate on this, man. And like I said, I want to put this information out there in ears of people because a lot of people want to see data. They want to see what do you know for you to sway them. Like I said, we doing our own thing. We don't even need the people who don't know. Fuck them. And if you don't care, because if you don't, because like if you do like Yvette Carnell, to where if you call her and you telling her that they enslaved the people in the land, they ain't enslaved no damn Arab. They enslaved the people of the land. I have too much information on that. I have too much information on that. Too much information on them enslaving the people of the land. They cannot bring no Africans here to do shit on this land that Africans never did. The Europeans didn't know how to do it. That's the reason why they was dying and eating each other and all this other stuff that they was doing. They knew that they could not survive without us. So these farmers and these cotton pickers, a lot of them are plantations was ran by black people and owned by black people. They just had to pay taxes to the Europeans. That's what happened. That's what happened. A lot of these plantations. You ain't got no white man name. A lot of them plantation names are just like Adanian Thomason. This stupid motherfucker gonna say, oh, they still got the plantation where his grandfather. How did the slave master lead a plantation to the slaves? Because that was your family, you idiot. What are you talking about? And like I said, The whole slave shit is like how they what they call that Rip Van Winkle. That shit puts you to fucking sleep in so many different areas of thought. And like my man Johnny Cash said, right? They are trying to connect you because if you think about this shit now, right? Why you think they made that shit over there? And I'm not even gonna mention it, but you guys already know according to what he was talking about. Why do you think they made that up and told you that the people of this land was over there, the Israelites is over there? Because they already found all that shit here, and all they did was take it and move it, and then they use the same they use the same lessons and everything that they found here in the Americas, and then they use that against us, and we don't even know it. We don't even know it. Like we found, and like I said, even when you go back to I think his name John Beck, and the video I showed you about the delicate tablets and the serpent mounds and the North earthworks and all that shit dating back 8,000 years ago, man, here in Americas. And I know that's a short period of time considering that they saying that this place is billions of years old, but considering here in North America, they saying that's 8,000 years old. And they showing you a motherfucker on there with a damn afro in his head. You know what I'm saying? But none of these people exist. And that's what they trying to do. That's why I think the Bible wasn't constructed into them. Because when they came here, they seen us here worshiping the sun. They made Jesus the Son of Man, which was the Son of God. They seen us worshiping the Son, and that's even when you read the Zeitgeist. When you listen to the Zeitgeist documentaries, what do they tell you where they got it from? They said they got Jesus from the Sun. Who was worshiping the fucking sun here that they told you was sun worshipers? The Nazis, and all of the other tribes was worshiping that wore that feather crown. That wore that feather crown. I mean, yeah, in the 1960s, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I can go with that. All those fake. That's right. Because because they on Moonlight Nation they switched it. They don't want you to look here as this big. That's why. Listen, yo, I'm just saying, like my views are of a couple of different pieces of information that changed a lot of shit for me, man. And on this whole topic, you have to get When Rocks Cry Out by Horace Butler, man. A lot of people got conflicts with him. Everybody trying to he don't want to talk to nobody. He don't want to talk to nobody. And I don't think he wants you to put his book out there because I think he got heat behind that book. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, or put I don't understand like why he deal with things the way he deal with it, but fuck him. The book is you read the book and you get the documentations yourself and you study from that. When I read that book about 6-7 years ago, I had first heard about him on Know the Ledge Radio. Okay, he I think Red Pill and Blue Pill had him on on KTL, and he was talking about how Israel was over here, Jerusalem was in Peru. And I'm like, man, what the fuck is this nigga talking about, man? Like I said, I listened to it and I'm like, man. But at that point in time, I was already in the knowing that it was black people here. But I just could not connect everything. I had to do some more information to fill in the data for certain areas that I did not comprehend or I did not concur with. All right. I did not concur with that shit at all, what he was saying. Okay, I'm like, man, this nigga bugging, man. He lying, man. Oh, we know Egypt. I'm doing the raise. You know how niggas used to do back in the day when they raised the roof? You know how we used to do the raise? I'm like, Egypt. Nah, Egypt older than all that. Nah. I don't believe none of that. You believe the stories and all that. Nah. All that shit happened here. All of that shit, how ironic or how much of a coincidence that we find paleo. Paleo means the oldest. You find the Cherokee spoke Paleo Hebrew. And that's why Anais Boutonu made that book, The Star in the West. Yo, it all pans out. It all pans out. All of this shit pans out when you really sit here and think about it. Why did Anais Boutonu, who was a fucking pale skin half-breed Cherokee, I'm using that word half-breed, he was a pale skin half-breed Cherokee, why did he write that book, A Star in the West, and was talking about the 13 tribes? 13 tribes, 13 stars. What did we say that Chickamauga had 13 stars on the Confederate flag? Listen, I'm going to tell you like this, man. I'm about to get out of here, y'all. Okay, I got to go handle some business. But I'm going to tell you like this, man. I'm going to leave this link in the description. Do your research. Don't let nobody tell you who not to research from. Don't just listen to some niggas who talking about wearing feathers and fucking and doing some stupid dances and shit, man. Do your fucking research, man. This more science shit applies to us now because, like I said, no one was saying that. Now I understand why they try to get you out of saying you not Negro, black, and colored. Now, all that shit, I understand all of it. But motherfuckers don't understand. That's why they come and say, oh, no, this is, we not this, and I just, okay, I know that. But guess what, though? You wasn't Chinese, even though we know that Kung Fu was created by so-called black people. You wasn't Chinese, but you was learning karate. You weren't Chinese, but you was wearing karate suits and sitting in the fucking karate shoes and watching Bruce Lee and shit. You took you, and I'm quite sure if you ever got into an altercation, you would use some of the moves that you learned from there. And the same thing, you ever get in an altercation with these public servants, you use the information on civics that these people, brothers, have brought down and taught you. Whether you don't use it then. I mean, you got other brothers who went through the school. My brother Coda, he phenomenon with this shit. Okay? Your research. Do your fucking research. Just do your research, all right? Because like I said, I've been down the rabbit hole a few times. You understand what I'm saying? I've been down the rabbit hole a few times. The first time I was thrown down head first. You understand? I was thrown in there head first, and I'm looking at shit. And I couldn't put all the shit together. Now I understand. Now I understand why all this shit, even why they did World War I and II. You got to understand that too. Why did World War I and II occur? You, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So when people tell you, oh, it ain't got nothing to do with what happened here, I mean, who did someone send? Did any of these Indian tribes send your ancestors a kite to come here in this land, or did you come here? Did you come here? So if we could read about one conflict between the white settlers, then how do we know? So all of your conflicts between the Indians and the white settlers went peacefully. They just let you live there. What's the story behind it? You just got here and got that. No one ever challenged white people and asked white people these questions, except these so-called immigrants that's coming across the border. They telling the white man that it's not his land. It's not your land neither, motherfucker. You wasn't in North America neither. Because if you was in North America, you wouldn't have to use the white man as asylum to get here, motherfuckers. You would have been already present. Your phenotypical presence would have been present from Canada all the way to Florida, and from Florida all the way to Louisiana and Mississippi. But we do not see you fucking Mongols. And niggas keep on caping for them. Fuck you niggas too, man. Because you niggas is fucking, you the reason why you the reason why we sit up here calling ourselves Native Americans and all this goofy shit. The gig is up. Even with that shit. Even with showing me these half-breed mongoloids. The gig is fucking up. Don't show me no more half-breed. That's not my family. We're not part of them people. Them people came here. They invaded this land just like the people who invading this land now that's crossing the fucking border. You got people crossing the border. No. What when they was doing the war on drugs, they was breaking in people's houses and arresting people and taking their children and putting them under fucking and putting their children in foster care and everything. They had no problem doing that. And they brought the fucking drugs here and they told you they did. But yet niggas break into your house and then persuade you to stay. If I come home and this nigga's in my house and I got access to my weapon, I'm killing all of them. I'm not saying that as far as the immigration policy, but in my house, I can do what the fuck I want to do. If you in my house and you ain't supposed to be here, then there is no, you don't have no rights. You have no rights if you break into someone's home. You have no, how does something apply to you when you're not even a citizen? You have to be a citizen for that. You have no rights. You have no right. You have no rights. This European is a devil. So you already know how he does. The Jeffrey Epstein's, come on, my dude. You think, come on. These niggas play with children. So you gonna bring unattended children in the land of fucking Disneyland, where even in the land of Disneyland, even Walt Disney was a fucking pedophile? So you're gonna bring unattended children across the border, and none of these parents are being brought up on any charges. If I go into a 7-Eleven right now with my daughter and still a donut, and he call the police on me, and the police is that serious to where he want to take me in and arrest me. If someone don't come pick my daughter up, then she gonna be sent to foster care. You understand? So what you think supposed to be happening when somebody break the law? You supposed to take them in, put them in a nice home, let them, oh, you go, thank you for coming to the house. Thank you. You supposed to lay here. You supposed to give them a queen size bed, give them a job, give them a pickup truck, give them access to give them access to resources that the people here who been here for the fucking longest still don't have properly. You got black people who own businesses, who their businesses, if you move in certain areas, is constantly being sabotaged by people constantly calling or they playing loud music. But then people move in your neighborhood and they play this stupid ass fucking music, and then you can sit there and no one says anything. But if you move in their neighborhood with your rap music, then it's oh, call the police on them, and it's gonna be their police that look like them that's gonna come and harass you. So, like, the gig is up. I'm only for my people here, the North American Negro. If I got allies along the way of people, I accept you. I'm not telling you I'm not. I will accept you because it's just too much. We're being undermined by people who not from here. Whether you from the continent, you not from this particular landmass. So we being undermined. We're being undermined by other people's opinions. That's why I tell you most of these black people who in these fucking political seats are fucking black immigrants who come here and they who they owe allegiance to. They didn't pledge allegiance already to who they owe allegiance to. So of course they're gonna undermine you, just like the people who was already here who been undermining us. So it ain't no different story no matter how you look at it. So like I said, man, my name's Ahanu, aka A1. I might not be your favorite Aborigine channel, but this is a motherfucking truth channel, and people don't want to. They don't want to explore the realities of anything because they look at everything. Oh, them poor people too, motherfucker. Do you want me to pull pictures up of the 1960s and the 1970s of how you had tanks riding down Detroit, riding down Harlem, riding down New York, riding down all these black? And why was they there? Because it was uprising because of lack of resources. Okay? All of the uprisings are due to lack of resources. The Civil Rights Act was an act that was supposed to be given to you because of your lack of fucking resources. That's what it was for. But right after 1964, they came up with the hard. So the Civil Rights Act was in 1964, where almost 30, 40 fucking years you sat here and fought for black Indians or Aborigines to get motherfucking rights because you then took all of our land and areas to where we could not be properly self-sufficient no more. So we had to rely upon the government, even though you had some individuals who was able to do their own thing and able to strive in this government and able to learn to move along with the other serpents here or whatever. But their hands is not clean from the blood neither. You know what I'm saying? Their hands is dirtier than anybody's. So like I said, at the end of the day, man, you gotta know, man, you have to know who for your people and who not for your people, man. I doubt it very seriously that any country in any of these other countries, if black people, if 60 million black people got up and try to move there, it's gonna be a hell of a war to ahead. Because they're not, and that's in Africa, and that's anywhere. They're not just gonna let you move in because all these people are territorial like that as well. So people, man, get your mind right, man. Get your fucking mind right. Stop letting people tell you this is a kumbaya session or this is because it's really not. Everybody got their own individual reparation or redress of grievances or whatever that need to be repaired among you. Everyone has their own claim. We all do not have the same claims. We all got different claims among different people. But one thing you can say that it is dealing with the advancement of how you say white superiority, because that's exactly what it is. Whether we sit there and say we know it's degenerate, but it also is a word that is a synonym with superior. Whether you accept it or you don't accept it, you understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, man, remember all of this history that you're being told has to be filtered. Cannot read nothing in no book. and assume that the same people, because all you have to do is track all of your favorite black scholars. Where do they get their information from? White men. And where these white men get their information from? Other white men who reconstructed shit. And you sat down in that chair all these months and years thinking you was educated, thinking this European told you something, but he ain't tell you shit. Because even the educated blacks didn't even come back to the neighborhood and tell us we need to get into what economical field we need to get into, because they supposed to know if because they supposed to have a meeting with people in these certain communities and say, well, look, man, we have a lack of nurses. Do you think you can get any of your people to start going to school for nursing? All right, we have lack of this. We need people to get into technical. Do you think you can go to the preachers and have the preachers tell people in their congregation that they need people to get into the tech? They undermined us from the fucking gate, because no, you see people now getting into that. And you might have had a few people who might have had some education or might have been had a little economical education. Because like I said, it doesn't take much. If you go to school and you learn something, you can apply it. That is applicable. You know what I'm saying? You know what resources and how do you get resources and how do you get things to barter and be able to trade to get resources. That's something you learn in education. That's the first thing you're supposed to learn. Fuck Christopher Columbus. Fuck these holidays. Fuck all this shit. How am I going to get me some motherfucking food in my belly? How? How am I gonna get me some food in my belly? Because none of this shit gonna help me do nothing. Oh, you have to learn this so you can go to the next level. So then you can go to the next level. So then when you come out, you can just show us this paper and say, oh, you went to college or you have a college degree. Never mind, because you got to be retrained again to do the fucking job. No job training or no schooling prepares you for the actual. Well, it's supposed to prepare you, which we still see how that works out. You still got people who not prepared, and they done been through schooling, they done been everything for it. You know what I'm saying? I guess they call that muscle memory. So the time when you're supposed to be able to excel or get involved with what you're supposed to get involved, you're supposed to be able to get right into it. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, how the fuck you going? Just like you teach a kid right now, right? Let's say you teach a kid. You see what trades and what economics and everything that's out here, and you try to have your child like, look, man, what you want to be when you grow up? Well, what about this? Or you just give them suggestions, or you say, well, what about this? When you don't like, you wouldn't like to do this, or once you look into this, I think you creative. You might be able to do this. These so-called Al Sharptons and Jesse Jackson ain't come with nothing but made sure you said you was an African American. They made sure that. They made sure you claimed that you was an African American. They ain't tell you nothing about what trades to get in. Now, you got people over in India at the same time the war on drugs going on, and they see that people had lack of resources, and that was the reason you created a whole nother problem by creating substance abuse problems. You know what I'm saying? But they seen this, but none of them came and said, well, for the black people who do got their shit together, you can do this, or you can get into this trade, or I don't recommend, recollect any you have certain workshops that did provide information to the lower or impoverished communities. But what's the nigga name? What's the motherfucking what's the FBI informant name? I think his name something. No, hold up. What is the FBI informant that they always talking to, the black dude that be sitting up there with the suit on and shit or whatever? I think what's the name and be interviewing him on As It Is. Or what's the black brother name that died? My brain is fried. I can't even think right now. What the fuck is his name, man? The black brother that used to be on As It Is. But he's interviewing the nigga. And how it go when he's interviewing him, he said that whoever his handler was told him that he need to burn down the workshop in Watts or in Oakland. And he said with all of the actors and everything, Sidney Poitier and Sammy Lee Sammy Jr. Davis and all these other people was coming in, and they was teaching the brothers and sisters in that community how to do or how to get into this. And he burnt the shit down Because why would the government want you to burn that shit down? Why would your handler who work for the government tell you to burn down a workshop that's going to be an advancement to people and help them get out this community or help them get out of the systematic oppression that they in, or even put them, even if they enjoy to do it, that's a satisfaction as well. So why would he tell you to burn that shit down? And how many other cities and states been undermined by that? Oh, we don't have the funding, but you got the funding for this. Oh, we don't have the funding to give you, but we can bring immigrants here, and if the immigrants that come here can't make it, we can get them welfare. So that go back to people, you giving people free benefits for nothing, unearned benefits, like Cloyd Anderson always say. Never mind. Oh, this ain't the white man country. We'll deal with that later. But this ain't their land neither. The people who come in here, they ain't their land neither. But they will have you believe it ain't your land neither because you a slave. So where the fuck you came from? Where your people came from? Let's have that conversation. Fuck all that kumbaya. Fuck all that. Where does your people come from? Because you always quick to go back and give me a history lesson and tell me I'm an African. Where does your people come from? Where? Okay, crickets. We get it. Do you look like the Olmecs? Oh, you don't. Oh, okay. Oh, you do look like the okay. All right. Until you take that helmet off and the motherfucker got cornrows and shit. And you know damn well you don't wear cornrows. You don't do it. So like I said, at the end of the day, man, it is what it is, man. Do the research, man. You free to check out the video. I mean, the check page Moors in America. Check out that Peter Moon on the Montauk Book of the Dead. Please read that because it's talking about the Montauk Book of the Dead. They mixed a lot of this into a lot of these secret societies, and he ain't even talking about. He gets connecting how it's all connected to the indigenous people here. Because all of that shit, when you really check it out, that's all it is. The rise of a black messiah is the rise of an Indian messiah. That's all it is. There ain't no such thing as no black nothing. So, at the end of the day, shout out to everybody. Shout out to all the brothers and sisters. Sorry it's been a long time. I had to, you know what I'm saying, try to get this documentary up and running. Appreciate everybody sending donations. You want to send it the PayPal link, and all of the other information is in the link, the description below. And like I said, man, keep studying. Find time to keep doing information. Find time to trace yourself. And now I was wrong about the ancestry thing. The farther you go back, the best it is. You know what I'm saying? I went back, like I said, to like the end of the 1700s or whatever. And I'm doing my mother and my father's side at the same time. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing both of them because I don't want to just do my mother's side because that's only going to tell one side. I ain't going to tell the other side. My uncle told me yesterday that his father owned he said his father owned 200 acres of land, man. You understand what I'm saying? What what slaves you know that come from Africa could get access to 200 acres of land and then they take it back from you? How did you get access to all that land? And it was so they just sold you the land and then took it back from you? The fuck out of you. You always had that land. That's why they just started taking land from people in the 1800s, because that's when they started getting the fucking land. So a lot of this shit that they telling you, only thing they did was just change the fucking dates on these stories. They changed the dates, and a lot of these so-called scholarly sites are being monetized, and they're being, not monitored. They're being monitored, and like I said, man, and it's an ongoing thing. So, like the brother said, don't believe none of this history prior to the 1800s, man. I'm telling you, and I'm telling you. Just listen, we can just sit here and we could pick out 5 things I just said of why you shouldn't trust it. For one, they don't tell you about Indian slavery. For 2, they don't tell you that the Indians was classified as color. For 3, they don't tell you that the Indians were never slaves. For 2, they don't tell you that that blacks the so-called black or Aborigine people all wasn't prisoners of war, because a lot of them had family members and had other people who they adopted into their so-called clan, and these people was working with them. And that's how they was able to provide. And how do we know this to be true? Because they told you that free men was begging to be work on. It wasn't to be a slave. They was begging to be on these plantations so they can get some type of resources or anything. That's why you always, when you see these movies of people who be moving, what the first thing they say? Yo, man, I'm just trying to get some food and trying to get me a room and trying to get me a roof over my head for the night. Don't you hear that all the time when people be traveling? When you hear people saying, man, in the movies, you hear them movies and people be like, yo, yeah, man, I'm just traveling, man. I'm just trying to get some food in my stomach, man, and a roof over my head, man, or whatever. Cause that's all it was about. That's what a lot of people, when they tell you enslavement, what did they show you? They show you, look, prime example, this not a black man, but we talk about Bill Bixby, how even the old Hawk, how he used to go from town to town, right? Now, what did he used to do? What did he used to do so he can stay where he stay and eat food? He used to have to work for it. They used to make him work for it. He'd be like, man, I'm good with my hands. Can you just so I can stay here? And that's the same thing with everybody else. That shit ain't just start off with no European. That shit started off with so-called black freemen or black or so-called Indians that was expelled from their land or abandoned that land, so therefore they didn't have the accesses to the wild deer, or they didn't have the accesses to the bass that's swimming in the lakes or whatever no more. Stuff that their family prepared for them for years. You understand what I'm saying? And they don't have access to it no further. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, what did you have to do when you knew you didn't have access? It's like right now, if everything collapsed right now and motherfucker got food, what's gonna happen? Somebody, you gonna have to work for it. You gonna have to work, or you gonna have to sell your motherfucking ass for it. You understand what I'm saying? I ain't trying to be funny or graphic or nothing, but it's the truth. So with that being said, man, let me get out of here, yo. I gotta go handle my BI. I'm gonna say love and light to everybody. Promise I'll come back, hit you with some shit. What you say, Brandon Rogers? I really hate how the 1890 U.S. Census was destroyed. It really throws me off. And you know what? The 1790 census was redone too. That ain't the census I'll be showing is not even a real census, because the real census got free person of color. It has look, listen, the shit got it has free white men, free white women, and then it have free person of color on it. They don't even have nothing about no fucking slaves on there. Yeah, and then what they did was they rechanged that 1790 census that I always read. They rechanged that shit to make you believe that that's what really was going on. But what they never thought that we was going to find out that you was enslaving people in all these places, and you just classifying them as colored. That's all you doing. And that's where all the Indians went. All the Indians went, and they all classified as colored. That is a motherfucking fact. They're all classified as colored. Ain't no motherfucking Africans here. They didn't, except the African brothers and sisters who come here. But other than that, other than that, there ain't no other people here. Ain't no people come here from no fucking Africa like they telling you they went over, because the United States government was well, like I said, even if you believe it, I don't even believe now anything past 1850 or 1830. I don't believe none of that shit, because I'm looking at it from like this guy. They just making shit up as they go along, and then we stuck with trying to figure this shit out, or trying to either you falling under, either you gonna submit to what you hearing, or you gonna do the research and find out that this shit is not correct. That it's a lot of holes in it. And how do you know that? Because the forgotten cause of the Civil War. You understand what I'm saying? How do you know? How do you have William Ellison, who was he owned the majority of the slaves in the South in 1860? If this country was so racist and they was lynching motherfuckers, well, why didn't they run up on his land and lynch him? He was the head nigga in charge. He was the biggest, baddest motherfucker around. Really? Because I would believe John Horse was one of the biggest, baddest motherfuckers. Tuscaloosa, King Powhatan, his brother Petruchin. I believe that these motherfuckers would be the biggest, baddest being. And somehow in history, they all tell you that they fell too. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to really start evaluating this knowledge, man, because I mean, if you relying upon certain individuals for it, you're just gonna keep getting the same information told to you over and over and over and over. And then at some point in time, you want to know, well, how do you know this? And where is the information or documentation to support what the fuck you're saying? You understand what I'm saying? And that's what we all want. We all want some type of something solidified through approval from someone else. But at the end of the day, like I said, man, ain't nothing solidified with this information. So shout out to all the Aborigines, North, South, Central, America. Love to all the brothers and sisters. Love you all. You already know how it is with me. Sorry, sometimes I might be harsh about the ill realities about this thing, even dealing with some of the people who cross this border. No matter if you say, well, the United States government is the reason why they crossing the border or whatever. Well, they need to handle their business. You don't come here and just, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's just a lot, man. It's a lot that I see that I just don't approve of. And I'm like, listen, you can do all that after you take care of me. I can't bring nobody in my house and then tell my daughter in my house, oh, I'm going to take care of them. And then my daughter looking at me with the Scooby-Doo face like, what? You want to take care of who? Take care of these motherfuckers you just brought in here? Or you want to take care, or you want to take care of the family you created, or the damage, or whatever you did. Whatever you did. So with that being said, man, shout out to everybody, man. Love all y'all. Miss y'all. Miss being rocking on the mic. Shout out to all my brothers. Shout out to AP, Jack, Chief Holiday. Everybody, man. You know what I'm saying? Everybody. You know what I'm saying? And like I was listening, like one more thing I want before I get out of here. Um the chief, she was saying like how the Cherokee was created. Yes, that's a fact. The Cherokee was created. It was no tribe of, it was no mention, and they saying that's a language, but they still like. Why you think they don't use Aniyanwanya? Or you know what I'm saying? Because they don't want to. They don't want you to the linguistic people to start looking at that word and start saying, "Well, wait a minute. This is Hebrew. No, no. This is Hebrew." Because even when you look at the word where it's spelled, it looked like it's spelled in Hebrew. You understand what I'm saying? It looked like that's why they had to trick you with these vowels, A-E-I-O-U, and sometime Y. You know what I'm saying? That's why they had to trick your motherfucking ass, because a lot of this shit that you see here, they had to put in English to throw you off, because a lot of this shit was in here in Hebrew. Or a lot of the shit, a lot of these words here, Connecticut, like, come on, man, like the gig is up, man. So with that being said, I'm out of here, man. Shout out to everybody. I will be back. I'm gonna get with the brother Jag. We're gonna finish up on and hopefully AP too, and we're gonna finish up on that on the encyclopedia joint or whatever. But from there on, like I said, I'm doing this thing on how the Indians became colored, because I think that is something that most people do not clearly understand. Even when you tell black people they Indians, they don't get it until what I tell them. You know what I tell them? I tell them, well, you do realize that the Indians became colored, right? You do know that they classify, or but they under assumption that this was only done to a couple hundred of people. They're not under assumption that this shit was done to millions of people in different lands, and I mean in different territories of the United States. They're not aware of that. They think, oh, well, they're not aware of it. They're not aware. But when you tell them that all the Indians east of the Mississippi was classified as colored, and then you start saying, well, hold up, colored water fountain only, colored bathroom only, colored this only, color that only, color this only, color this only, color this. Hold the fuck up. If I'm classified as colored, this gotta be me too. Oh, but no, the Indians mixed with the Africans. Well, wait a minute. How many Africans came in? No one answered these questions. So until these questions are answered by other people, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is, man. Like I said, love you all, you guys, man. Shout out to everybody, man. They go, Jag, we gonna get together and do that joint, man. If we could get, if I can get with you tonight, we can do it tonight. If I can't get with you tonight, we could definitely do it tomorrow, Sunday. So I mean, and if I get with you tonight, we could probably do another one tomorrow because it's been a minute or whatever. And like I said, I got other documents to go along with a lot of this shit. But yeah, like I said, love and light to all the Aborigines, North and South, Central, conjoining islands, all my brothers and sisters throughout the Caribbeans, the Tainos, and the brothers and sisters that's in South America that's classified Hispanics that are descendants of the Aborigines who was here prior to the European Spanish, or whatever you want to call them, the European invasion or the Anglo European invasion or whatever the fuck you want to call it, or the Mongoloid invasion. Shout out to all them brothers, and shout out to the brothers who was affected from the invasion because of the mixer. So, love and light to everybody. But I'm not just going to be under the assumption that a whole population of people who don't look like me are from me. And people do not even, they got fucking Facebook and Instagram and channel sevens and all these news channels. They have all this shit, so they see what happened to black people, and they know because the same shit that happened to us here happens, they do to the people in their motherfucking land. So don't never let nobody tell you that all these fucking countries hate black people. All these fucking countries, and that's a fact. So with that being said, man, I'm out of here, man. Peace, y'all. Peace.